him a shot to do what?
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're back. Yo, Jim, season 3. They said it couldn't be done. They said we wouldn't get past episode 1 of the pilot, and we're here. Season 3. We got some killers in the room. We got some AL division rivals. I mean, listen, Jim, before we announce who we have today, I have to tell you something. And I don't want this to turn into a 15-minute, back and forth with us, because we've been doing this for a couple years now. First, it's lovely to see you, brother. The beard looks great. The hat, beautiful. Eyes got me going.
You don't want to know what's on the other side of that hat.
I probably don't because I know it's some mohawk.
White Sox.
Well, that's where I was gonna go. Listen, Jim, you told me a year ago that Juan Soto just wasn't that guy. I got to witness history the other night. At the game, me and 3 other people, because no one goes to White Sox games. Sorry, Tim Elko. Hopefully that can change. But me and 3 other people got to see Juan Soto hit not 1, not 2, but 3 dingers in a row. I mean, and then they walked them in the bottom or the top of the 9th. And I was just like, man, bro, you just can't let us be great. But Jim, I want to fast forward this because we had the same conversation around season 2. Has your stance on Juan Soto changed at all?
No, because I never said he wasn't good. I said he wasn't worth the money he was asking for. I personally don't believe anybody's worth that amount of money.
Oh, man, get out of here. You know what? I'm done talking to you. I'm going to be talking to a Cleveland Guardian, to a Kansas City Royal, 2 dogs, 2 foes who are now Joes. We're sitting here on Pros and Joes where we're talking the X's and O's. We have Doug Nikhazy and Jonathan B. Johnny B, Outer Banks man himself, Jonathan Bowlan. How you guys feeling today, man?
What's up? I'm good, man. I'm good. How are y'all? Hanging out.
Man, I feel so great. I just wanted to get that Juan Soto skit off because it was like I've been waiting so long for this moment.
I just know your energy level. I dig it, man. It's 10:30 in the morning. We're usually doing this at 8:30 at night. Like I can get with this.
Wake up, baby. Wake up. I'm a morning person. You don't know, man.
I don't went to the gym. Something you just don't know anything about in your life.
Man, you know what, bro? Listen, if you ever tore your Achilles, you'd know the fear. But listen, at the end of the day, man, we're going to start this show off the way we start off every show. Got a couple icebreakers. And this time, it's a little controversial, a little spicy. Got some shit going on. Sorry, I almost made it, Jim. We were 2 minutes and 50 seconds in, but I swore. I'm sorry. But listen, Noah Lyles, the Olympics. Got a lot to talk about. If you guys don't know, I work for the WNBA. I work in Chicago Sky Media. So we've had an amazing season. We've had amazing stuff. We could talk about Kalia Copper getting the gold. We could talk about, Steph Curry, Steffortless. I mean, the chef was cooking. He was doing his thing. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about Noah Lyles. What he said about NFL players. First, he said, listen, bro, here, let me break it down the best way I can. If you don't win a gold medal, yeah, you didn't do nothing. Then Anthony Edwards won a gold medal. Then he said, but you didn't go to the NBA Finals. And it's like, whatever, bro. I got a shoe. You don't. So then he goes to Tyreek Hill. He says, NFL players are not world champions. Tyreek Hill says, bro, I will dust you in a foot race right now. So, Doug, I want to start with you. Noah Lyles or Tyreek Hill? Bar for bar. We're not even going to say in a 100-meter, in a 200-meter, one full time around the track. Who you take?
I'm going after all that trash talk. I got to go Tyreek. Like, I've seen what that guy can do on my fantasy roster, so I know if he can do that, like he's definitely getting him. But like Noah's quick. I looked at the photo finish, like he was right there. But Tyreek's quick. He is a track star. Like he's sprinting down the field. So I got Tyreek.
Give me Sha'Carri Richardson to dust them both.
Oh man, with the look. With the look too,
with the look. That's why, and you know where she went to school, LSU, bro. Come on now.
Come on, yeah, had to throw it in there. Yeah. John, fast forward to the LSU stage. Like, who you got? Tyreek, Noah Lyles.
I don't know. The thing is, Noah Lyles transferred in 3 years for that one opportunity, and so he's doing everything. But then you got Tyreek, who's breaking ankles on the field. He's making moves, and he's unbelievable too. I mean, for me, I'd probably go Noah Lyles, just because I know he's done it more, he's experienced it more, and he might be able to longevity. But Tyreek Hill, I mean, he has a shot. I mean, it's going to be a good race regardless. So, I mean, I don't know, but I'm gonna have to take Lyles on that one.
For sure, for sure. Now, listen, we've heard the rumors. Nothing's cemented in stone yet. We understand. Jim and I were just talking about it. If the Olympics does bring baseball into fruition in 2028, it's not going to be in LA. They said it'll be some neutral site. I'm thinking Florida, somewhere like that. But there's all this soccer stuff going on in Florida too. So who knows? But if the Olympics are in 2028 in LA and baseball is involved, how excited are both of you guys, whichever one of you guys want to go first, about that coming together? Obviously, World Baseball Classic was one of the biggest we've seen yet. I mean, the ending with Trout and Ohtani, I mean, it was storybook for sure. So to have that in an Olympic form, what does that mean for you guys who have grown up, obviously, watching the Olympics and now being able to potentially be a part of that?
I'll go first. I think it's really cool. I think it's honestly, I mean, I'm looking at it from a baseball standpoint. I get it, but I think it's a travesty we don't have baseball in the Olympics in the first place. And there's other team sports in it all across, and baseball really has become a global sport. Like I see where in the past it maybe wasn't that way, but like you look at the World Baseball Classic and you see how competitive it was all the way through the beginning, all the way to the end. Like all the pool play was even very competitive. So, dude, I'm pumped, man. I had experience playing with Team USA. It's such an honor. It's so fun, and like, man, I know that we'll kick some butt if we go do it, but man, it'd be like it'd just be a long time coming. To win a gold medal, it is special. Noah Lyles got something to say about the gold medal, but
And we
yes,
would
it
have
is.
to, and we would have to earn it, Doug, because other countries are significantly good. You think about
Oh,
just
yeah.
Japan right off the top, right? But all the countries right below us and the islands, so like we obviously know what the Dominican brings up. Like it's not going to be some walk in the park, and that's what I love about it because the competition will be significant.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, with it coming, I mean, if it comes, I mean, it would be sick. I had the opportunity to hopefully play for the USA qualifier a few years ago, but then I tore my UCL, and so then I was able to miss that literally 3 days before report. So it comes to the Olympics and people and us having the opportunity to win gold in that sport that we love so much, we've had around for so long. I mean, it would mean a lot to us and I guess the other countries too, because I feel like winning gold is like top notch.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think there's really anything above that. I mean, winning the World Series is dope. Don't get me wrong, but like representing your country and like y'all were talking about, the energy within the World Baseball Classic was through the roof. Every game is what it felt like,
Yeah.
and just bringing that energy to the game would be huge and really exciting, honestly.
Mike,
And I,
I'm glad he
yeah,
brought that up. I got a question for you because he brought up talking about the gold
please.
medal. They were talking about Wemby. Would it have been more significant for him to win that championship against the USA, going against the most elite and best representing his country, or win an NBA championship? And I felt like that was a no-brainer because winning it for your country and then beating that elite team,
Mhm.
there is no better thing you could accomplish.
Well, listen, myself personally, and we got a couple professional athletes here. I'm a high school burnout. That's really where we peaked, brother. You know what I mean? JUCO stuff. But if I were Team USA, if I were those guys in that room, after seeing Wemby getting emotional, after seeing the way he was after losing that in front of his home country, I would have let him win because the off-season workouts that this man's about to endure, the season he's about to have. I mean, this kid was a rookie with 200 plus blocks and didn't win defensive rookie of the year. Didn't win defensive player of the year. And sure, shout out Rudy, whatever. But I
He
think for
spread
me,
COVID. I still haven't forgot
yeah,
about that.
no,
Yeah,
never,
me
never,
either.
never in my life. That's the craziest 5 and 10 you'll ever see. But the most expensive too. But yeah, no, I think Wemby's gonna come into this season knowing that, hey, you guys put me on blast in front of my home city, in front of my home country. You gotta show up and show out. He's dunking on everybody. So I would have let him. I would have let him get that because I'm not trying to deal with nothing 7'4". I'm 5'7", so like I'm not even trying to deal with that. So that's where I'm at with it. But
Are
listen,
you only 5'7"?
I'm
Golly.
5'8" in cleats. Some slight.
Okay. Maybe that's what it was. That picture,
Some,
you kind of look taller. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah. Well, those are. See, check this out.
Doug is officially not the shortest person in the room. He's feeling really good right now.
Hey, I heard that and I was like, man, let's
But
go.
look, let me put you on game though, Doug. This is gonna change your life.
And I'll say this, hey Mike, we fixing to get deep into Doug's career. I'm just going to tell you, when there was original reports wrote on him going into pro baseball, there were a lot of people who were actually concerned about the fact that he wasn't even 6 feet tall. And I love that he's just proven the naysayers, because I really don't think that's an actual relevant thing, but people try to find a way to nitpick people, and they do stuff like they're not tall enough.
Oh man, well listen, shout out to my guy because I love him. But Luke Little, man, hasn't had the greatest major league career thus far. He's 6'7". Sorry, he's 6'7". He's a giant. Luke Little is not so little, but his ERA ain't showing much. But so I love everything we've said thus far about the Olympics. But I do have this question for you two professional athletes who are competing to try to eventually win a World Series. Going to be a lot harder for Doug because the Cubs always get in the way. I had to say that. Y'all just swept us yesterday. I had to say that. I'm sorry. It's not pretty.
You found a way to talk about the Cubs. You
found it. In the city of Cleveland, we never forget, dude. We never forget about that. We won't until we break it.
Keep thinking about it. It ain't going. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, Doug, the Cardinals own the Cubs, and as soon as they won a World Series, this cat has not let me stop hearing about it.
Because what? I don't care about 2013. I'm about 2016, baby. But listen, it's a serious question. World champions of what? The World Series champions. Do you guys agree with Noah Lyles that a Super Bowl, a NBA Finals, a Stanley Cup, a World Series, that doesn't make you a world champion? Do you agree that you do have to do it at the Olympic stage for that to be considered?
You got it.
It's a tough one, right? It's a tough one.
Yeah. Doug passed that one real quick. Doug was like, I don't want that.
Yeah, Doug's like, nah, I don't dig it. Like,
no,
but
I
that's
got something brewing, but I saw you thinking about it already.
It's real. Listen, I want you to know before anything, Noah Lyles, shut up. Like that, you know what I mean? Like,
Doug, I'm gonna take this way back to our original episode like 4 years ago. They didn't teach this in Ole Miss study hall, did they?
No, they didn't. But I'll tell you.
Hey,
listen,
I'm going to tell you, Doug, you started a trend. Let me tell you something. You weren't the only one. I think 9 out of every 10 Ole Miss baseball players that came on was a study hall attendant. I don't know what y'all are doing. Y'all are really good at baseball. Y'all need to get better at the academics, boys.
Hey, leave them alone, man. We got important questions that are being asked right now, man. Forget about that. This is going to be the clip of the episode. No, I'm kidding. But
John B's like, what is study hall, boy? I got straight A's.
I don't know about that, but I mean, like, back to the question. I mean, the thing is, like, we haven't, I guess the World Baseball Classic is kind of like our, championship of the world or whatever, world champion, whatever you want to call it. But I don't necessarily agree with it because we don't have those sports in the Olympics,
Right.
And so it's like, so we're the best at what we do in that season, and we're bringing in players from all over the country or all over the world that come in and play on these pro teams. So I feel like, since we're not in the Olympics, that is equivalent to like a world champion in a way. And that's just my opinion on it.
Sure. I was going to say the same exact thing where you said, like, we're bringing in players from all around the world. It's not that, I think what he's getting at when he's saying that comment is like, we didn't have to play the best to get what we got. Like, screw the titles and like the labels of what you call it, the World Series, Super Bowl, gold medal. It's all the same thing. What it implies is that you played the best competition and you have achieved the highest goal in your sport. And I think the highest goal in our sport at the moment is the World Series, because you have to play the best players that have been assembled all around the world to play against you. And it's not even just like, it's not just the major leagues. Like, a lot of these guys have fought their way just to get there. And now they're fighting against the best. So like, when we say the World Series, man, like, you have to beat guys from all around the country to do it. It's just the way that it's assembled. It's a business. It's not like you're playing for your country.
And you got to win a 7-game set at that. Like that. That's the difference. It's not one game.
on
No.
top of all the other series that you go just to get to that point, and 162 games before anything. So I dig it, man. I think for me, like, especially, I think baseball is a great comparison. There's two real mocks, I think, because as much as I love the NFL, and Jim and I can go back and forth all day long about why the Bears are horrible, or why Derek Carr will never take him anywhere. But I think for me, the NFL is really strictly, this is US. This is US guys for the majority. I mean, we got guys like Tory Taylor out of Australia and a couple other cats here and there. But it's primarily just Americans. Whereas, myself working in the WNBA, a majority of these cats are coming from overseas. There's so many dogs, the Rebecca Gardners of the world. And then you're obviously looking at Major League Baseball, which is, if we're going to be completely honest, you name top 5 players in Major League Baseball right now, how many of them are American born? It's getting, that list is changing. And I think it's really incredible to see stuff like that. You got the Big Poppies of the world, the Shohei Ohtanis, we could do this all the Juan Sotos, we could do this all day long. Not one,
hey,
not
Mike,
two,
before
but
you
three,
leave the
big three.
Before you leave the Olympics, I got one thing I need to say.
Go ahead.
And I'll prove a point. I cut a clip of it, and I had a discussion on the IOTB YouTube. And to prove that it's meaningful, it's got like 150,000 views and about 350 discussion comments
Slight
about
flex.
it's not a flex for me. It's about the content. Synchronized swimming. I swear to God, that Michael Jackson synchronized swimming by the USA was the best thing I saw in the Olympics. I'm not kidding. I could have never cared about synchronized swimming in my life prior to that. But to be able to do what those women were doing, are you kidding me? That's the most talented crap I've ever seen. Like, go get in your pool, Mike, and try to balance yourself straight up, then start doing all these feet movement and hold your breath and like do a whole 4-minute routine to Michael Jackson. What the hell was I watching?
Listen, I don't think I'd ever buy or invest in a pool in Chicago, baby. It's like 40 degrees 8 months out of the year, so I ain't really rocking.
But you get what I'm saying. Like,
I get it.
I
get
that
it.
routine. I didn't watch any other routine. I didn't need to, man. Now I saw the best of the best. I was good. Like,
yeah. No doubt. Now here's my last one before Jim actually starts talking about the important stuff. Listen, we're talking a little bit about baseball movies, and we'll get into that a little bit later because I'm still 10 toes down. Jim will not make me back down in season 3. But listen, if you had to pick superhero versus supervillain, we're talking the main villain versus the hero of the movie for a baseball movie out of players in Major League Baseball. You could pick Juan Soto.
And what started this, to give you the premise, in our in off the bench discussion on Monday with Tanner Franklin, we were talking about he's never seen the movie Little Big League, and we were explaining to him that Ken Griffey Jr. was actually the most loved guy in baseball, but they made him the villain of that movie, and so much so that they actually let him, steal the glory of that team. The bad guys won, which led us to a discussion to what Mike's asking: who would be the hero of these movies and who would be the villain of the current day player? So that's kind of what started that. But it was kind of interesting when you look back. Everybody loved King Griffey, but yet they made him the villain.
Mm-hmm. The villain. that's hard to speak on somebody who's a villain when I'm not even there.
No,
I'll let y'all go.
Oh, I'm the villain.
No, I'll let y'all go. But
I'll
let y'all go. But Tanner Franklin, I'll tell you what he said, and I actually thought he had the perfect choice. And I think, Mike, because you don't even know who it was. John, who do you think it would be?
For what? The
villain.
The
who
villain?
Would you? It doesn't mean they actually have to be a villain. Just who would you put in that role?
Jose Altuve. Sorry.
That's what Daniel. That's what Daniel said, and I said, larger than life character, of course, and he said, larger indeed. No, he said Aaron Judge, and I agree because he's a Yankee.
Said he'd be the villain.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's big in size, monstrous. He plays for the Yankees. That kind of because he doesn't actually have to be a real villain, but he fits that role.
It's kind of like a Monstars thing from Space Jam kind of deal. I see that.
Yeah, but the smile.
All right, who is it for you, Mike? You're knowing his answer. What do you got?
Juan Soto man.
Again?
Never that. It's King Soto. That's my dog. But no, bro. I think I couldn't go Judge just because I think the smile is just too friendly. Like, you can't smile at me like that, dog. Like, come on, you're a teddy bear. I think that's where him or Brandon Marsh. I think you mess around and say Brandon Marsh just because he looks like a Sasquatch. So like, you gotta find a way to make guys look like the villain. I think you gotta have someone with a good character. I don't know. I mean, Bryce probably could play that role. I think you gotta have someone. I think of a Freddie Freeman to me. I think would play a good villain just because like he kind of looks like that like business guy who can kind of just show up, but like. You love Freddie. You love. I think the whole world loves Freddie Freeman. I can't say one guy who has anything bad to say about him. So to make him the villain,
John B will like my hero. Give me Bobby Witt all day. Let's go. Yeah. Bobby Witt Jr. is my hero.
You got to go Salvador Perez, bro. What are you talking about? That's that's America's hero, brother.
That's true.
Shout out Chinook Ceadery. I had to do the Bobby Witt Jr. plug. Got to.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Right. Who you got, John? Who you got for it?
As a
hero. Yeah, either or.
Which one?
Whichever one you want to do.
Jeez. I mean, it's just hard to talk on because I mean, Mookie Betts. I feel like he's a good one.
He's like Captain America kind of. When I think of like that's World Baseball Classic going back to that.
America's ace, Paul Skeens, is Captain America. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Paul Skeens might be my villain. That's kind of who I was thinking about.
Bro, the posters in the background behind me, that's what we're doing here? Okay.
Good one, honestly.
Like
I like
the mustache the mustache is the key element behind his villainous.
He's like Paul Skeens is like the Terminator, man. He comes in and he just is mowing guys down. Like he might be my villain. All love to Paul, man. All love to the SEC.
Making the job.
Mike, they might not be wrong, but here's the key. When my mom was sick in the hospital, even though he's in the MLB, that man still texts me to tell me that he was praying for everything. I can't make this guy a villain. I can't do it.
Yeah, but see, that's you though, Jim. Villains have friends too. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure they do. But is he gonna strike out a kid from Rookie of the Year with 105-mile-an-hour fastball? Possibly. I could see it. You don't know. But Jim, go ahead, take it over. We'll get some minor league stuff going in, and then obviously we'll have.
I got to actually start with something college related. I saw the coolest thing. I sent you the picture right before the start. Doug, I'm gonna start with you. The cover of NCAA Baseball 25 that had you on it. The sip and everything, like, dude, when you first saw that, like, how awesome was that?
Dude, it was cool, man. Like that was just a really cool promo that they put together and everything. I was like, it was really cool, man. I was really happy that I'm in Columbus right now, and they decided to kind of like highlight a lot of the players and everything like that. It was a really funny surprise because I'm walking out, getting ready to go throw and everything, and a lot of the players are kind of like trying to nudge me in a certain direction to go walk over there and go see all that stuff. And it was cool, man. They kind of had a few of them set out there for all the guys that went to college and everything. They do a really good job with all the promotions and stuff like that in Columbus. They make it really fun.
To me, that's second behind winning a championship. Being on the cover of a video game, I mean, that's next right there. That's next level. But let's get into the baseball, man. Let's talk about it. Obviously, you start with the rubber ducks, which I'm going to be honest with you. I started collecting minor league hats because Chase Dolander sent me a Yard Goats one. And now I've got this thing where, because I already had a Trash Pandas one from Houston Harding. Rubber Ducks is next on my list, Doug. I'm going to acquire a hat and send it to you. I need it signed because that's just awesome. But that aside, you went from the Rubber Ducks to AAA, just talk about, that work and then, making it one step closer to your ultimate dream of going to the show.
It was a big step that I'd kind of been waiting on for a long time. I spent a lot of time in AA, boys. That was my tough level. And I think AAA is just as tough. No knock on AAA, but like everyone talks about like at some point you kind of figure out how you have to become more of a pitcher and less of a ball thrower. And that's kind of where I figured it out, where my stuff hit a plateau and I had to learn how to become a better pitcher. So it was like a big weight off my shoulders when they finally gave me that call to come up here. But it didn't come without a lot of work and like trying to figure a lot of stuff out, man. I think I really had to figure out how to pitch. I spent all last off season really just trying to throw strikes. Like the walk rate had to get cut in half, and thankfully I have now. And just like throwing the ball in the zone became a very big deal when you got to AAA. You got an automated ball strike system, so it's been helpful.
Do you Jim, because Jim and I kind of we were hashing it out about Jackson Holiday earlier in the season, also because he sold me in fantasy all year.
Well, but bro, hold on.
I'm just
Before you
kidding.
even
I'm
say
just
what you're
kidding.
gonna say, no, before you say what you're gonna say, I'm mad at that dude because I went and saw him in Memphis when he came and he went 1 for 13 over a 3-day stretch. And 2
Man,
weeks later, he's in the MLB cranking home runs. Literally 2 weeks. That's
I
some
feel,
trash.
I
The
feel you.
only reason I'm gonna let it pass is because he signed a ball for me and I talked to him about Chinook seeds. Other than that, if he didn't do
Bro.
that, he might be on my hate list.
Listen though, Doug. In all seriousness, and John, you feel free to come in at the same time too. Do you see a difference in the development when it comes to waiting in Double A as long as you did, especially for you, Doug? Like from a pitching perspective, from a hitting perspective, because you have guys like Andrew Vaughn of the White Sox who went to Single A and then they were like, okay, you're good, like straight to the majors. You have Pete Crow Armstrong skips college, and then obviously within 365 days he's in a big league uniform at Wrigley Field, and obviously guys like Jackson Holiday versus pitching outside of Paul, we really don't see a lot of guys go straight to the show right away, especially when you come from the Pirates organization. So it's really easy to do that. But and no shade, Paul, no shade. But for you guys, man, what do you think the difference is, and what coaches are trying to really just instill in pitchers versus hitters at the minor league level?
You want this one, Doug?
Go ahead, John, because Doug got to answer the last one.
I mean, like when it comes to the like development aspect of things, it's like when you go from Double A to Triple A, you need to really like the hitters have different approaches, and so it's like the hardest part is figuring out the approach and how to get them out. But then on top of that, you have to throw competitive pitches because say I throw a fastball down and away and I throw a slider that bounces 50 feet. I mean, that's uncompetitive, and now you're kind of in a hole. And so you're like having to recover from that. So like for me personally, development has been from that aspect of things. It's like pitch shape in the zone, tunneling stuff and everything else like that so that you can get those swing and misses. And then even throughout that AB, you're able to figure out maybe their approach or what they're looking for. And then you pitch off of that.
Mm-hmm.
The development aspect, I mean, is basically just pitch selection and being competitive with each and every pitch you got.
Mm-hmm. I think even a step further back from that, where I kind of was, is I think the stuff was there, but it became just strikes and then quality of strike. I had to start with strikes because it was, I think in college I benefited from being able to like have that massive zone. I had Mike Bianco calling every single pitch for me, so I'm not having to think about what's my game plan up here. I can just go out there and compete. And it was nice at the time, but I had no experience of like knowing hitters on the mound, being able to make those decisions in the moment. It became a whole different game for me when it was like, oh, I have my own ability to want to throw a slider here. And if I have that thought in my mind, I can choose to do that. So it was a lot of development for me from that standpoint of like, okay, I've never even actually game planned for like how I want to get a hitter out. I've just kind of gone up there with somebody else's plan in mind and just executed for them. So how do I do that? How do I become cerebral on the mound and slow the game down a lot? And Double A is a great place to learn that because you have a lot of talented guys at that level that maybe don't have the approach yet. Like I think in Double A, you have talented hitters that will punish you that maybe don't have the approach yet that AAA hitters have. So it's a great place to learn, and I think that's why I spent a lot of time there.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Well, and he brought up something great that I didn't even have on the notes to talk about, Doug. We had Javero January on and off the bench twice, SEC umpire. He actually has the highest percentage rate. This is a flex for him, Mike. 99% clip he's calling strikes right. But what Doug was talking about the zone, they literally have that buffer zone that is now a ball and a half off each side of the plate that they have the discretion to call strike. That when I went from watching the College World Series in Omaha and then went to Redbirds Norfolk Tides game, and it was completely different, right? Like it really is a massive adjustment for both the pitchers and hitters coming from that college zone because there isn't that buffer zone. It's pretty, direct what's a strike and a ball. And so, was it a big, Doug talked about it, John, for you, was it a massive adjustment going from that zone?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think last year was the first year they did the automatic strike zone.
Yeah.
And so, like, like you said, double A, I mean, the zone was bigger. It was bigger, you know, it was going strictly off the umpire. And then you come to triple A where there's, you know, the hitters are a little more experienced. They have a little bit better approaches. And then once they get used to the zone, they're tending to spit on stuff that you think would be competitive at the next level. And so the zone is just, it's so tiny. And it's like there was no like top of the zone. I mean, they're working on it to get it better. But like in the past, like last year, I feel like there was no top of the zone whatsoever, and so you couldn't get guys to chase. So then if they saw a ball up, then they're just going to take it, you know. And then it's like, all right, ball. And you know, it was definitely tough, and it definitely was an adjustment. But I feel like it is trending in the right direction, and it's gotten better.
I definitely had a new perspective after I became friends with Javero and spent the whole year with him, going to games where he was actually the umpire and not even he was umpiring those Redbirds games. That's actually why I went. And hearing fans actively boo all these pitches that they, you know how fans are. They think they see everything, and seeing his results come back and seeing that he's literally 99% right. And it's like, yeah, I now no longer question the strike zone when I'm in the crowd, because it's like, okay, I clearly can't see it right. And then with all the nasty stuff you guys are throwing these days, can you actually see where it's crossing the plate and at what angle and everything? Even if you're directly behind home plate, I've had some videos where it's just tough to see. So I have a newfound respect for umpires, which is something I never thought I would do, because I was always that guy who is critical of everything they do in every sport. So, but going back to, what we were talking about, I got to ask you, John, because I asked Doug about going from AA to AAA, but my man, you got to go to the show. Man, like, let me ask you, you get drafted and all the feels come with it, but how much more of a significant feeling is it when, it's one thing to be drafted and you're going to the minors, but when you actually have made it, all your dreams have come to fruition, and what's that feeling like?
I mean, it's like a very surreal moment. Like whenever that moment happened, I was actually in Columbus in the airport when I called last year. And I mean, it was just a very surreal moment, and it kind of took me back to that day that I got drafted. I mean, all the emotions, all the feelings. It's like you worked your whole life to get to this point, then you work to get to the next step. And the emotions were crazy. And then just being able to tell your family and your friends and like all the support that I have back home in Memphis. I mean, it's incredible. And being able to
did you have tears of joy? Did you have tears of joy? Like I made it, man.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, we only had 2 weeks left in the big leagues, but I mean, that moment was so special to me. I was crying in the Columbus freaking airport.
But folks are like, what's wrong with that dude?
Yeah.
So let's get into stats. Coming back to you first, Doug, man. On the season, 4-2, 3.18 ERA. You've got 85 innings pitched with 89 Ks. But also talking about that AA to AAA transition, man, you threw 17 straight scoreless innings when you got there. Was that really about, just carrying over the groove that you got in AA to AAA? Talk to us about, how you feel about what you've done and then just, being in that groove.
Yeah, when I got to AAA, it was sort of like a weight off my shoulders. A little bit of backstory. But the pitching coach that I've spent the most time working with since I've been in the Guardians organization, he recently just picked up a job as the Ole Miss head pitching coach, Joel Mangrum. And I spent pretty much that whole offseason working with him, trying to get right, really get into a place where I feel like I could compete. And he had kind of just taken that job, and he had told me right kind of as he took that job, he's like, hey, man, that call to AAA is coming soon. And when you get there, like, I want you to treat it like college, man. I want you to go out there and compete, go win a job. Like, not the development's not over. It's never really over. But I want you to really think of this in a different way than maybe you've been thinking about it in the past. And that really freed me up. As soon as I got there, man, I was like, okay, like I get to go out there and just try and put up zeros. Like, I don't have to try and work on throwing changeups. Like, let's go. Come on, let's do this. Let's do it, man. So I got out there, and Omaha, great offense, but I had a good day in my first one, and then I kind of
so humble right there.
Well, I like that it was Omaha because he's talking about John B's team, so that was
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I see that. Nice little recovery.
He held off on the cuss word, which made you laugh instantly. Look, boys, you're actually allowed to say whatever you want. I'm just trying to take care of the kids that are watching, but. Doug,
you know what Michael Jordan said about them kids? You know what Michael Jordan? I ain't gonna say it on here.
He did in fact say it. But you talk about, just going back to like college, Mike, you don't understand because you weren't, until you became friends
Trey.
with us, you didn't care about college. You don't know what Doug Day is because look, somebody literally told me when I asked what hat I should wear for this episode, they said you should get a powder blue Ole Miss hat because Doug's coming on. I said, Doug, don't pitch in powder blue. He was the Saturday guy. This man had a day named after him, Mike. And so when we talk about go back to what college was, this man, I put out that video the other day for Left-Handers Day. Man, I still get fired up when he threw that 16th strikeout and came off the mound. Like, Doug ain't even ripped, but I don't know. He had veins come out of nowhere that I don't even know. Doug probably got that thing framed on a poster in his house.
I need J-Day. I need J-Day coming up soon. We're going to get J-Day too. I'm rocking with it. We rock with you over here, Jay. Don't let them put you in a box. We'll get you a day. Maybe like Wednesday or something. I don't know. Saturday seems like Doug's thing, but maybe like Wednesday night. It'd be something nice.
There you go. But for you, Jonathan, man, 9-4, 4.86 ERA, 90 innings pitched, 86 Ks. You obviously had the one game for Kansas City, 0-1, but you went 2 2/3. You got 3 Ks. Talk to me about how you feel about your success. When you look at the 9-4 record, talk to me about. I mean, clearly you've had a lot of success.
Yeah, I mean, like starting out the season, I mean, I was doing my thing. I was locked in, shoving, and then I got the call up. And then I go to Toronto, and then Justin Turner had my number. 92-mile-an-hour homer out in Toronto. Sure, we'll take it.
It happens.
But the other two were nukes. So I mean, it is what it is. But just being able to have that experience, especially like that was my first game, like for like a true start. Even though I only went 2.2, I was still able to prep myself and get right for, that game. And I learned a lot from that, and like talking to the older guys and that. And then I came back to Omaha. We decided we needed to work on some things. And I was working on it, and I went through a rough patch for about 2 months, I'd say. Month and a half, 2 months. And so then after that, we came to All-Star break, and I'm in the bullpen now. And so, I'm just kind of grinding away at it. I mean, there's been ups and downs, hills and valleys. I mean, that's just part of the process. And just being able to learn and develop and get prepared for what's thrown your way. Since I moved to the bullpen, I mean, I've been doing much better. It's definitely a different approach, having to be ready every day. Whereas a starter, you have 5 days in between, sometimes 6, So most of the time 6, actually. So, but I mean, it's been a lot of hills and valleys. I learned a lot, and I need to just, continue to keep working and trying to get numbers down a little bit. But, it's just part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you feel like, if you get into a groove here again, that you'll get an opportunity just like the end of last season to get a chance to go up and hopefully get you another start in or even maybe a relief appearance?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, you never know what can be thrown your way. I mean, our team's rolling up top. So, I mean, you just got to keep rolling what you got. And whenever they call my name, I'm ready to rock,
Yeah.
So, I'm just staying ready, trying to focus on what I need to do to improve my game, and then we're going to go from there. But I hope the opportunity comes. I mean, you never know, and I'm going to be ready for it whenever they call.
No doubt. You're talking about your team rolling. We're going to get into all that. I got one more thing, and then I'm going to let Mike cut loose on the AL Central. I wanted to talk to you. Got to get serious, Mike. This is actually a serious subject. Man, one of my favorite parts about from the first time you came on the show to just following you, man, is the relationship with your sister. She's your best friend. She's your biggest fan. Saw she just recently turned 30, man. Just talk about that relationship and just how important it's been to you, not just as a big brother, man, but even into your baseball career because having her there, being there for you.
I mean, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. God blessed me with her and, all the challenges that have came with it. And I just feel like it has shaped me more as a person and my character and everything else like that. And then the thing is with her, she brings joy to everybody's life. She might not even know you, but she's going to go out of your way. She never meets a stranger. And it's a very special thing. And it's like, it always comes back to when, all right, we'll say I went 2 innings, gave up 5 runs, whatever. But you know what? After the game, she's there. Big old hug, big old smile. And, it just keeps me fighting each and every day.
Nice.
Just try and do what I can to help her in the future, and just continue to keep pushing myself, and because I know that, shoot, if she's the best athlete in the family, so things just haven't fallen her way. But just having the relationship with her as a sister, and then as a number one fan, I mean, there's absolutely nothing like it. And I'd say I have the best number one fan out of every player in the league. Just because she's there every day, she's yelling, I don't know, it's just the joy that she brings to just to everyday life on and off the field.
Nice. Mike, it don't get better than that, man.
It don't. That's dope, man. I want to say shout out to her for being at every single one of those games. I know every day is not the easiest day for anybody. So to be able to be there and be able to always, it's really hard to see the same person every day. And what I mean by that is like, you always get mixed emotions. Some people have good days, some people have bad days. But from what I could tell from what you're saying, it's positivity 24/7 from her. So like it's really rare in someone like Jim knows. I have days where like I'm not Mike. I'm pissed. Don't talk to me. Like I'm like after last night against Doug against the Guardians, I was hot. I was like, don't talk to me. I heard Craig Counsell say getting swept is not good, and I was like, all right, bro. Like it's fucking August. I can't. That cannot be the post game interview. Like I'm over this,
bro.
But
we went from the most sentimental part of this
did.
show to you finally dropping the F-bomb full and clear.
40
Hey, you know
minutes
what?
in.
We're gonna start. We're gonna start. Man, it's gonna be a bet on FanDuel over under swearing for Pros and Joe's season 2.
Credit to Mike. Hey, I went 40 minutes deep.
But now you know what? You can break free now. It is time for you to talk AL Central and dig in deep. Go for it.
Man, listen, we just went from sentimental to absolute shit show. The White Sox, let's talk about it. I was there. Not one, not two, but 3 home runs by Juan Soto. Mr. number 300 from Aaron Judge. Wish I got to see that, but Buddy didn't want to make history, didn't want to be on a highlight reel, so he walked him. Top of the 9th, he walked him. I was me and 5 other dudes in the ballpark were like, boo. But, it is what it is. At the end, Jim, it's so nice. I had to do it twice. Check it out. I got the wallpaper of the photo I took of these two. I mean, look at the celebration after his 3rd home run. I mean, it's glorious.
So let me ask you a question. When there's only 5 people there, can you buy the cheapest seat available and just move yourself down, right?
Let me tell you, I bought tickets. Look, I don't care if Jerry Reinsdorf himself hears me because the Bulls suck too. So I don't care. Ban me. It is what it is. I bought $15 tickets. My SeatGeek fee was more expensive than my ticket. It was level 500. I sat right behind home plate. I'm just a few rows behind, and I saw history. I even got out of the nacho line because I knew Juan Soto was up to bat, and I got to see the first home run from like from over some dude's head. I'm like 5'7", so I had to jump. I was like, and I saw it, and it was an Apo Taco to the left hand side. I was like, damn. But Jim says he has no power. But listen, I'm getting ahead of myself. The White Sox, talk about it, on trajectory, just like Juan Soto the other night. 1, 2, 3, 123 losses is their prediction right now. They are currently at 93. That's fucking crazy. Like that's nuts. So I want to ask something that wasn't on our little rundown. You're a part of this organization per se. How do you morally keep going? How do you mentally stay locked in the game? How do you continue to be a good teammate? You go through stretches. I mean, they had 2 stretches this season where in the beginning of the year and just so recently where they had over 14 losses in a row. They ended up losing, I believe, 21 at one point just so recently, not to the Cubs. Shout out to them. But, when you have a season like that, this is for either of you or both of you. How do you just stay in love with the game? How do you stay ready to come to work where it's to like, listen, I'm here to play ball. I'm not here just to collect a check, because you could see it on everybody's faces around like 19, 20 games in a row. Like, I mean, guys hate their life for real. Yeah. Like, and shout out Tim Elko because he didn't have to be there for that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But like these guys who are on this roster are, most of the guys probably aren't going to be on the squad next year. So how do you continue that?
It's so tough, man. I know I've been on some bad teams before. I'm happy to say I've been on more good teams than bad teams, but sure. Man, I've been on some bad teams. And those teams, man, like you can tell the wins bring everybody together, and then the losses push everybody apart. So like everything in my power as far as being a good teammate is just trying to bring the group together, because it can't be about the wins. The worst thing you want to hear in a stretch like that is like, guys, let's just have fun. Because that's, oh my God, like that's just going to irritate every single person in
Yeah.
that clubhouse. So you got to find other ways to bring people together, whether it be like, for some guys it's cards, for some guys it's, sitting there in the clubhouse and, talking shop and stuff like that. The worst thing you can do is kind of push people away because of what happened on the field. You gotta remember, I guess, that you guys are a band of brothers, and if you're the Bad News Bears, you're the Bad News Bears. And like, if you own that and accept that, like, actually that's when it kind of flips the script, I feel like. But like, trying to kind of I don't know. The worst thing you could do is just start worrying about yourself. And I think that's where things kind of go in those kind of situations. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I'd start bringing guys coffee, taking guys, the Breakfast Club always works. I don't know if you guys do this in KC, but, Breakfast Club's a huge thing with us. Like, I'm talking the whole clubhouse. We're going to breakfast. Like, that's how you got to do weird stuff like that, soak the field one day. We're not playing today. I don't know, something.
The Denny's is popping, is what I'm hearing. Or 40 deep in Denny's at around 9 a.m. That's crazy. But Jonathan, how about you, man? Like, especially from a pitching perspective, whether that's out the pen or whether that's in the rotation, with a lineup that, might just feel depleted, how do you continue to bring that energy on the field to try to, like, kind of like you said, like, change things around? This is I always call it a game of quicksand. The faster you try to run through it, the faster you're going to go down. So you kind of just got to, thread the needle and see it through.
Yeah, I mean, going off what Doug was saying, I mean, you gotta bring guys together, and like coming off the mound and pitching. I mean, you're trying to do what you can to help your team win that game. I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to one game at a time, and it's like the only way the energy is going to get up is if you bring the energy, And so it's like then you can like step up into that, try and find that spark that brings everybody together on the field, and then like off the field, you can go to eat and everything. But then again, if you have that many losses, it's hard to find that spark. I mean, it's kind of like you got to take advantage of the little victories at the end of the day and then build off those until it comes together.
Yeah.
I mean,
so Doug and John, I got a question, because I was listening to a segment that actually just it really pissed me off, just because I know these guys on a personal level, the guys in the farm system. Obviously Tim just killing it in AAA, and that's why me and Mike were talking about. And then you draft a guy like Hagen Smith, dominant, 100 from the left with that nasty wipeout slider, and they literally were saying on the radio, this organization doesn't even have anybody in the farm system coming up that can make this team any better. And I just found that disrespectful, because you're talking about two guys, just in the guys that I know, talent wise, leadership wise. Like, Tim Elko is a guy who can transform a locker room personally wise. And then he's been killing it, just hitting bombs. And then, like I said, Hagen Smith can be a certified ace. Like, do you feel it's like disrespectful to those guys, Doug, especially, Tim being who, like, saying these guys can't change the trajectory of this team in the future?
Yeah, it's hard to hear, man, because I know the things that Tim can do for a team, bringing guys together and stuff like that, man. Like, when in 21, and I mean, even in that short season in 20, man, I look back at those years and like, who knows what those years would have looked like if Tim wasn't there. We all know what 22 would have looked like if Tim wasn't there. Like, he is, he's a people pleaser, but he doesn't do it for himself. He does it for everybody else around him. Like, I think there's a certain distinction between the people that kind of like walk in the room and say, here I am, and the guys that walk in the room and say, there you are. And he's one of those guys that's just really special. So I can't speak on Hagen Smith, but man, does he know how to throw a baseball.
Yeah.
And that's all I can speak on.
Hey, Doug, that was tough. I coach some kids here and there in the shy, and I'm gonna have to use it. Here I am. Here, there you are. Oh man, that's a little bar right there from Doug. I can't lie, Jim.
I'll put it to you. I'll put it to you like this: when he said he can't speak as much on Hagen Smith, when I was putting my top 10 left-handed pitchers that ever came on in off the bench, Doug was number 2, because Hagen was number 1. Because after I played the 16 strikeout clip of Doug, I had to put the 17 strikeout clip of Hagen, which I actually was there in person, and that was just unreal because it was against that Oregon State lineup on a neutral field in Globe Life. And but no, Hagen really is like, I don't understand when you get a guy like that in the 5th pick, and I know one guy can't completely change around a team, but it's just asinine to make a comment to say there's nobody up and coming when this dude hadn't even got a chance to showcase what he's going to do on the next level.
Here's where I'm at, and we're gonna get into playoffs and everything else in a minute, but like I do think this is really important, and this isn't just for the network, this isn't just for in off the bench and give us a shot, but you know, a lot of guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's just what it is. Point blank period. ESPN Chicago, ESPN in general. Well, I hear a lot of guys who want to talk about baseball, and that's great, but there's so many levels, there's so many intricacies, there's so many minor league coaches that are the reason to why, you know, you'd be like, oh, Craig Counsell's an amazing manager. He figured out how to get, you know, Justin Steele to this, and so on and so forth. But it's like, no, bro, it's like, it's the single A coach, it's the double A coach, it's the triple A coach. It's the things you guys are going through at the minor league level. It's the players that they're playing with and learning from at all these different levels that are making things go. And I feel like, you know, more times than not, that's why I bring up, you know, we are minor league baseball. We are college baseball. We do this. Like this is our job. And it's really important to give you guys that spotlight, not even just trying to glaze ourselves, pause, but like, I think, you know, you look at that and you go, okay, like, how are you going to tell me who's working and who's working out when you haven't watched a single South Bend Cubs game this season? You haven't watched the Tennessee Smokies. You haven't watched the Iowa Cubs. And I've been to Iowa several times, brothers, to watch the Iowa Cubs. I'll tell you what, there ain't nothing going on in Iowa other than the Iowa Cubs. I've been to the Field of Dreams. I don't have to go twice. I did, though. But I don't have to go 3 times. But I will, though. But, you know, I think for me, man, it's, you know, guys are just looking at numbers. Guys will go on the top 100 and be like, nah, this isn't the guy. And for conversation, you know, my buddy James Triantos, kid's a monster. I mean, kid is an absolute dog. He's a baby Nico Horner, just waiting to get popped off into the major leagues. And I think for me, when I knew James back in 2022, and he wasn't in anybody's top 20 prospects in the Cubs system, it was like, oh, you're talking to James Triantos like he's just some guy. Okay, and then just like that, in a year, and I'm sure you guys can attest to it, now he's Arizona Fall League MVP. Now he's a top 100 prospect in baseball. So things happen very quickly. You know, guys just develop and become who they are. You know, I think it's really important and evident to continue to just see the process through. Like Colson Montgomery can't change the trajectory of the White Sox. Are you fucking stupid? Like, sorry, Jim. Sorry, kids. But like, what are you talking about? Like, are you even paying attention? Like, what are we? Tim Elko? He's batting like 290. What are we talking about? Like, Tim's been a dog this year.
Dude,
like,
Tim hit a home run in 5 of his first 10 AAA games. Like, dude,
no, doesn't fit the narrative, Jim. Doesn't fit the narrative. Don't talk about it.
I'll be honest. I don't know how these two guys felt. You know, I didn't know if he would be able to do what he did on a college level on the next level. I did need to see it, and he did it the whole time he was in AA. Right. And as soon as he got to AAA, it carried right over.
It's just, and again, I didn't mean to go on that little sabbatical, but you know, I think, you know, we talk about that a lot, about like, you know, no one's going to pay attention until it's time to pay attention. Like, I had never seen a minor league game on ESPN until Paul Skeens and Jackson Holiday went back and forth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that where it's like, bro, like, there's so many dogs out here. There's so many guys fighting out here. Just give them a little bit of love. But I want to talk about a dog fight that's going on right now in your division. Kind of breaking that through, talking about the Guardians, you know, number 1 in the division. Shout out Doug. He's doing his thing. But Royals and Bobby, shout out Bobby Witt Jr., you know, doing his thing this season, 4.5 games back, holding the last wild card spot in the American League. For you guys in AAA, how much are you paying attention to that? You know, is that something that, hey, every single morning you're waking up looking at the standings? Is that something you're even paying attention to? Or are you focused on, obviously, like we said, are you just locked into your team, what you got going on, your start days, and what you need to do in order to get to that point? That's for either of you too. I'm sorry. That was me. That was me.
See,
my bad.
See, I don't know why you always do. That's one of my biggest problems with you, Mike. Direct somebody the question.
Well, listen, they're both on the fucking. Listen, you know what?
There you go. And they do it. John, you know what? I'll do it.
You know what?
Doug spoke last because I pay attention.
No, you know
John,
what?
you got the floor.
John, hey, hold on. Don't listen to him. John, you have the floor. I wanted to
There
say
you
it.
go.
Yeah, I mean,
This dude came on here wearing an old school Florida Marlins hat, going to try to, you know
I
what?
just got it. It's nice, right?
I
It's
like
nice.
that.
It's
I
uh,
like
nice
that.
stuff. Thank you. It's a
yeah,
little.
yeah, I'm checking it. I mean, we're keeping up with the big leagues because, of course, we all want to be there. We all want to be supportive of maybe one day our team, or they are our team, but like consistently, not just up and down. And then you also pay attention to your division. I mean, like for us, I mean, we won, excuse me, we won the first half. And so we're grinding it out. And then we're trying to keep up with who we got next. And right now, I think Columbus is up there. And it's like every time we play Columbus, it's a dogfight every time. Is what it feels like. And but no, we for sure like keep up with the big leagues. I mean, because those are our guys. We were all in spring training with them all. We came up with most of them, or I came up with most of them. And so it's not just focused on one. I mean,
Mm.
you focus more on what you need to do each day, but then at night you're checking to see what happened, with the big leagues and how things are going or where they're at in the standings, because you might have that opportunity.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Mike, was
It's a
an interesting
delicate
feeling if you
balance.
go, but before you answer, Doug, would it be interesting feeling if you come from last place in the minors in your team to first
Oh
place?
yeah.
Man, what a great feeling when you wake up the next morning. Not only did you get called up to the show, but you went from last in the standings to first. What a
It's like
morning.
it's the complete opposite. I remember Miguel Vargas got sent to the Chicago White Sox after being on the Dodgers, and I was like, man, that poor soul. Like, man, that poor soul, brother. You went from Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani to 35th
That's
and
tough, dude.
35th
Oh
and
my God.
Shields.
It's a delicate balance, although. I mean, like, I'm keeping up with the big leagues, but like, I'm trying my best to keep my feet where they are.
Yeah,
And right now I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, right now. And that's where my feet are, in the middle of nowhere, I guess, like as
You
you
sit there and
say.
got on
But that
Iowa, Mike, and that's where he is.
that is where my feet are, and that's where I'm mentally trying to be at as much as I possibly can. Like, man, I love watching our big league team play, especially when we're playing like this, man. It's so cool watching those guys. So watching Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams, guys that got drafted with me, go out there and be like the 1 and 2 guys of the freaking
yeah,
of the best team in baseball. Like, that fires me up. But you know, I can't let it go unsaid. The clip shows is in first place right now. So I
yeah.
gotta be happy with what we're doing right now. I gotta keep up with how we're playing and everything. And I'm proud of it, man. Like, even though it's just AAA and everything, man, I'm proud of the work that I do and what we do as a team. So I got my feet as much as I can where I'm at.
I like that. You are where your feet are. Man, Doug got gems.
Yeah,
Doug
I
got. I don't
mean,
know.
I should have never made the study hall joke. And hey, I just got to looking at it because I started thinking about it. Doug, y'all come to town. I mean, hopefully you get called up, but if you're still in AAA, y'all come to Memphis for a whole week here in the first week of September. So you're gonna see a lot of me because I'm gonna come watch Doug Day every day.
Yeah, and I'll come
Oh,
to
come
Tennessee,
on.
but I ain't going back to Iowa, brother. I'm sorry. I ain't going. I don't care. I don't care how
Memphis
good
is Memphis is just slightly bit safer than Chicago, bro. You'll be okay.
I believe it. I believe it. It feels like home. That's what Randy told me. But it's definitely interesting for me when I watch your guys' careers because you're trying to figure out like what makes you go. What are things that help you be the best version of yourself? And this is a question on Pros and Joes that I pride myself on, and I think that Jim and I do so well. Really, just trying to pick your guys' brain about who are the guys that help you get to where you are today that are either in the coaching staff or whether that be a teammate, whether that was in spring training or in AA, AAA, or maybe even someone you saw way back when in single A who's helped you, whether that's meditation, whether that's having, a gem for every single answer like Doug does. The man's just dropping bars left and right. The man, a man can be a preacher if
Well, I
baseball
can't
don't
wait
work.
to cut clips for this. I got
Man,
gold.
it's going to be crazy. But I want to start, Jonathan, I want to start with you because you had a chance at the major league level. One is kind of not a joke, but like I just want to know because I've seen him in person. I've heard him speak in the dugout. Salvador Perez. I'm curious to what kind of leader he's like, what the aura of Salvador Perez. And then second, who's somebody for you, whether that was at the big league level or not, who's really helped you transform your game into a different level?
Yeah, Salvi, he's the guy. He's the dog. He's whenever you walk up, he's always got a big smile. You know, he's very supportive. He's very he informs you very well about like who you're facing, and I mean, he's a leader. He's a leader, and he's our leader. He's our captain. So you know, Salvi. I mean, he's the GOAT. I mean, he's awesome. And then you know, like who's helped me throughout like pro ball is, I mean, mainly my teammates. I mean, I've just had so many like teammates and supportive teammates that, you know, whenever we all have a bad game, we always sit down, we talk about it. You know, it's like a little workshop for us. But then again, when we get away from the field, it's not. So I don't know. It's like your best friends, kind of, and you're just hanging out, maybe having a couple drinks, you know, just talking about what happened in the day. It's kind of like, I see it as more like a therapy. And, you know, just having those teammates. I mean, I've had a ton of teammates, like my roommate now, like Veneziano, and then you have Alec Marsh, who's been up there quite a bit. And then, you know, I played with Junior in 21 in AA. And like during my rehab, Junior, I mean, let me stay at his house. And so, you know, I built a relationship with all those guys and, you know, just being able to talk to them. And then like another one of my teammates that, you know, he's not with us, and it's Jonathan Heasley. He got traded this past offseason. We've been boys all throughout pro ball. And then you got Austin Kai. I mean, I can go on a list of teammates that have been supportive.
Hey, we're here for the list. If you want to go on a big long thing, we're cool with it.
Good. You know, just having those guys that know what you're going through and like, you know, you can relate to and talk about the ups and the downs. Because I mean, we all have our ups and downs, like days or even games, you know. And so it's just, you know, just building the friendship. And I mean, it's mainly just my teammates. And of course, coaches that help me, you know, throughout, you know, developing my delivery and everything else like that. But at the end of the day, it's always leaning on my dogs, which are my teammates and my boys. So,
yeah. Doug, how about you, man? Who's I mean, you can name however many people you want, or if it's just one person, whoever, who's somebody that's helped impact you to get to this level where you're at today?
I feel like I do, and I'll go on the opposite side of things. Like I want to start by highlighting my teammates because they are the man. All of them are, man. Like Tanner Bybee, Ryan Webb, freaking Franco. I mean, I could go down the list. I got a bunch of buddies that have just been good. We have a group of lefties between Parker Messick, Alex Clemmie, who just got traded, Ryan Webb, Will Dion. Like, we have this giant group of lefties. Logan Allen, who's been down with us for a little bit now. Like, this giant group of lefties that are averaging 91 miles an hour and all have the same arsenal. And we're, like, all figuring this crap out together. And it's cool that we all just are all in it together, man. So I can't say enough about those guys. But I think the people that really, really impacted my career the most have been my coaches, all the different pitching coaches I've had throughout my career. Carl Lafferty, Mike Bianco, even though he's the head coach, he really is like the pitching coach at the time. Like he was helping a ton with me. I can't say enough about Joel Mangrum, Owen Dew, Caleb Longshore, like all these guys that, like you were saying earlier, these minor league pitching coaches that, like, whether it was like, they'll do anything to me. I heard a story about a pitching coach that a guy was having such a hard time throwing strikes. And this isn't right, but he cared so much about his players that he waited for the lights to go down. He put glow sticks around a 9 square, and they threw a bullpen into the 9 square with glow sticks just because he's trying to figure out how to throw strikes. Like, these guys really care about our careers. And I think that's what makes Cleveland Guardians the pitching factory that it is like, these dudes really give a shit, man. Like, they care about what we're doing here. So I can't speak highly enough about them to just get all the knowledge that they've given me and I've just tried to cultivate it. I guess just be like a sponge.
Hey, listen,
Mike,
shout out,
Mike.
Doug.
That's the very I was gonna say that's the very essence, though, Mike, of what you were talking about. That the people who don't know, they're not going to listen to this show and know the list of names these guys just said and who's responsible. It is exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, but man, hey, Doug, you're my favorite left-handed pitcher, man. I forget Jim's list, bro. I mean, you're my guy, bro. Listen, Doug just said shit on the show, and now I'm not the only one that cussed today. So I feel great. I think that
wasn't great favorite. First of all, I never said Hagen.
You said second. You said second.
No, I said top left-handed pitchers. It would definitely would be favorite because anybody who played for Arkansas would not be my favorite anything.
Doug's my
I have
favorite.
his poster on the wall just because we set up the NIL deal. But let's be clear. My favorite's Griffin Herring because he wore the purple and gold. I do hate that he got drafted by the Yankees in the 5th round, however.
No, I'm big. I'm Doug's biggest fan now. You can't tell me shit. You can't tell me nothing. And Johnny B, that's my dog too. They both my dogs. But listen, before I throw it to Jim, because we're gonna keep talking bad about the Sox because we got to talk about number 300. But listen, I want to ask you a question because it's oh so serious. I understand you got the Bronx brothers in New York right now, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, but Bobby Witt Jr. MVP season, my fantasy team, Bob and the Whalers, were being carried by the man. I mean, they were doing their thing. Shout out Bob Marley. But for you, man, you got a chance to see him. You got a chance to play with him. What is that energy like? What is the command, the aura in the locker room? I normally don't like to ask these questions, but when you have an MVP caliber season and you're a part of that, you have a guy like that behind you in the infield. You know, how much does that boost your confidence every day?
I mean, that boosts through the roof, like it feels like anything that they put in play on that side of the field is going to be called. I mean, just watching him in AA, I mean, his talent level was so much higher than everybody we faced. And it was just like one day I literally said earlier, all right, I said earlier this, when I first met him, I was like, this is going to be a superstar one. Like I was talking to my boy, Jonathan Heasley, and like all of us, we were like, man, this dude's the truth. Like, he's going to be so successful in what he does. Just having him on that side of the field. I mean, he's a competitor. And then in the locker room, he's a leader. He's building his way up to being a leader. He's learning from Sal. He's learning from all these guys, and just being able to have them. And then we have a ton of our other, infielders and outfielders. I mean, our duo, like, you got Michael and you got Bobby Witt that's shutting down the right side of the infield most of the time. And then you also have our second baseman, I mean, just it's a team at the end of the day, but like having Bobby is, next level. And like what he's doing this year is crazy. I mean, he's so much fun to watch. He's so talented and like he's an even better guy too. Like he's one of the best dudes I've ever met, like off the field, like not even just baseball, just in general. Like, he's so, I don't know, so positive. He's happy.
I mean, I made a comment about the Chinook Seedery, but he's the only guy who's got a face on the bag. Obviously, I've invested into this company for a reason, and I say that to say they're not going to just put anybody on a bag, and it doesn't matter how good of a player. You got to have a significant, piece of character for them to be the guy they choose. So I think it solidifies everything you're saying, John, because that's the guy they went with.
I want to be on the bag. I think I should be on the bag. To be honest,
I'll put it to you this way: Skeens wants to be on the bag. Skeens wants to be on the bag.
Hold on. What did Doug say? Doug said I can't be on the bag.
That's the only flavor we don't eat out of protest, man.
Oh,
I see the Buicks.
Hey, you know what?
Too.
You're going down. You're going down on my ranking. I'm taking them down.
Hey, I'll put it to you this way: Skeens wants to be on Parmesan pepper, and they won't just do it. Like Bobby is right now the only one that will let.
Jim, I'm sure you've had all the flavors, but like this for anybody. Have y'all had that though? Like Jim put me on to the season. I'm looking at that Parmesan pepper. Oh, damn.
Well, I know John B has because they're sponsored by them or they're the official seat of them because of Bobby. So I know he has.
Yeah, I'm a cinnamon toast guy. They're good.
They're fine. Yeah,
I saw the one. I got a challenge for you. Doug. Add cinnamon toast with smokehouse barbecue. Daniel is the one that came up with it. Calls it smoking toast. We've been getting feedback. The first person, Mike, he had do it was Tony Vitello, and he came back and said, legit, it needs to just be go ahead and mix it in the bag and call it a done deal, especially because smoking toast is such a catchy name.
I might have to try that.
Is it from I'm talking to two college boys. I'm a 3-time community college dropout. So, it passed my classes the 3rd time. Just had to prove something to mom. But listen, do you think strategically from a marketing standpoint, it's better to combine the both or make people buy both and make them combine it themselves? What do you think? Because you might get more sales in just the one individual that has them mixed. But if you're making people buy both, you're getting new revenue. So do you think? Listen, I'm just asking the important question.
You got to market both, but like, how would you market the two separately? I don't know. I guess That's tough, but like you have a new I don't know. I guess you can market just like a
I
new
got it.
flavor.
It's the battery, right? You put the pitcher on one and the catcher on the other, and you got to have both for the combination.
Ooh. You're
Let's
straight to
go.
And you
jail.
got
You're why I have
one
no
of them,
money,
the
Jim
pitcher's smoking, the other one's toast, and then you got smoking toast.
Yep.
There you go. But
This
no,
is why my bank account struggles, man. This is stuff like
speaking of Skeens, I just have two more questions, and then we'll play a game of this or that and let you boys get out of here. We were talking about him earlier, but did you? I'll start with you, John. Did you expect to see him that much success that early?
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. No, I didn't.
Well, because like Mike says, nobody does from a pitching standpoint.
I love John, bro.
Real. No, I didn't, because it's just such a different animal from college to pro ball. I mean, it's a different animal, but I mean, he's proved me wrong. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, he's doing it. Like, there's nothing to it. I mean, freaking first year out of the draft, all-star, starting the game. I mean, holy crap. But no, I didn't think so. But then, I mean, he proved me wrong. And I'll own up to that. But no, it's just it's because you see guys who are first rounders, and that have been very successful in SEC caliber, whatever the conference is. And then when they get into pro ball, they kind of like disappear. I mean, you're going to disappear for a couple years just because you got to work your way on up. But, like, from what I've seen, like, throughout my years of being in pro ball, it's like they don't always pan out to what people say.
Yeah.
It's like, so it was one of my little pet peeves that used to be, is like when college announcers, like in the national championship, were like, oh, this guy is going to be in the big leagues next year, And I was like, I felt like they said that kind of freely before Paul Skeens. And it was like, but then when Paul Skeens did it, you're like,
I remember what they said about Kumar Rocker, right? And he ain't there yet.
Yeah. But John, that's why I laughed so hard when you said no, because I was like, I'm laughing because I'm like, bro, I heard so many people be like, yeah, it's gonna take a few years. Like, this kid's not just gonna come off right off the gates and just dominate the league, and then it's like all-star starter, and you're like, oh, okay, then my bad, bro. Like Wemby, we talked about Wemby earlier, and Jim and I talked about it in the offseason. Like, I was like, he's all right. Like, like it is, maybe Scoot Henderson wins Rookie of the Year. It's going to be close. Wasn't even fucking close. And I was like, I owned that. I was like, oh my God. Like they're just transforming the game for real.
Well, Mike, to go back to being that we're in season 3, episode 1, going back to season 2, episode 1, we had Brock Wilkin on there. Brock texted me during the All-Star game when he threw that splinker. And he goes, bro, he said, we had to face that crap in Omaha. And that was the reality. Like, those dudes that played against him told me they saw this coming because he was already that elite. And when we talk about these coaching staffs that we're talking about in the minors and the development systems, like, they were like, once they get a hold of that dude, it's going to be unreal. But my follow-up question, Doug, to you on this is they showed his velo has kind of taken a dip these last couple of games. Playing a college season is completely different than playing a full pro season. Is this something that you just expect that would happen to any guy, especially when they throw as hard as he does?
I think with Paul, he's such a freak in nature. You can't really expect anything from the guy. Like, we already saw him transcend the minor leagues and go straight there, be an all-star. Like, there are those, and we've already seen the comparisons to the Strasburgs of the world. Like we saw that. So I can't expect him to act like any other human being, right? Like, how can I expect him to? Yes, I think for most average baseball players, there's going to be your first time throwing 100+ innings. I don't know what his innings totals were up to in college, but like, he's going to eclipse 150 this year, right? Easy. I don't even know what he's at. Like, that's going to take a hit on the average human being. This guy trains like a monster. He is built like a monster. And he, I don't know if this is par for the course for other people, but this could just be like that mid to late season woe, and you're about to see him maybe kicking into another gear come September.
Yeah.
I fully could see it coming.
So do you now?
Well, I mean, he shouldn't be pitching late September because the Pirates are in last. I think that they would scale him back to make sure to protect him.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I know you're going to say it's the Pirates. The Pirates are going to pirate. I know what you're fixing to say.
But listen, here's my serious question for you guys, because I do think it's important to the conversation. Not in no way, shape, or form am I saying Paul isn't trying, Paul isn't trying to be the best version of himself. But, when you're having a season like this, coming from a pitching perspective, you're throwing 100 to 105 damn near every other pitch. He's pitched right now 92 innings pitched in 15 games, 6-2 on the year, 2.25 ERA, 115 K. So I'd imagine, like you said, Doug, like at some point, I think he gets close to 150 innings pitched. Do you think he slowed down the velo to avoid injury in a Tommy John sense, or just try to get to that point? Because I've heard people kind of say both sides. I don't think Paul is that guy who's going to slow down anything. He doesn't give me that energy, doesn't give me that vibe. But for you guys, this is for both of you. I'll say, to make Jim happy, we'll start with Doug. Do you think
hey, because you read off his stats, by the way, because people who actually pay attention to baseball, especially pitchers, understand, you should have read my man's whip, since it's a 0.96, just to be clear.
Of course. No, 100%. But like in that conversation, in that breath, do you think, that second half slowdown from Paul from a velocity standpoint does have something to do with him trying to protect his arm? Or do you think that is something just completely different?
It could be a whole lot of different things. I don't think the mentality slows down for him at all. Like,
right.
I want to get that out of the way, because I think I think two things are at play. Like, he's in his rookie year. I can't see anybody in the rookie year slowing down or wanting to slow down. I don't care if we're 150 games back. Like, he's trying to go for it. I don't see that coming from him. And he just seems like too much of a competitor to me to ever really take his foot off the gas pedal, just like listening to him talk in a few interviews. He seems like he wants it and like he's going after it. It could be his body's completely fine and he's a little bit like, to throw that hard every single pitch, you have to be so mechanically in tune and you have to be perfectly dialed up. It could be like he's a little bit mechanically like not on time. It could be that subtle. It could be his body's a little bit down and he's still on time. It could be so many different things, but like I said, I think he's the type of guy too that, like, he can see the finish line, he sees the light at the end of the tunnel, and he kicks it into a different gear.
For sure. Jonathan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think he's trying to avoid injury or anything like that, because if you try and do that, that's when you get hurt at the end. And I just feel like throughout the pro season, long season, it's longer than college. You throw a ton of innings, you're going to see a velo drop. I mean, if this is the first time his velo's dropped this year, that's really impressive, honestly. But, I mean, he's going to battle through it to the end, like Doug was saying. He's going to battle because he wants to make a name for himself, and even though he already has, he wants to keep it rolling. He wants to be a phenom. So, you just got to keep going, and I couldn't see him backing off, though, just to avoid injury.
And that's where I was at. And Jim, obviously I'll ask you as well. But that's really where I stood on it. I heard a lot of people say, "Well, you don't understand, bro. You're not a pitcher." And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, but here's the difference."
I just know him personally, and
and that's what I mean.
He doesn't know how to turn it off.
Right. And I think for me, and not only does someone not know how to not throw 100 miles per hour, like, yeah, you could throw a little chestnut and that's fine, but we're not doing that. You know what I mean? This isn't wiffle ball. So, for me, man, I've played competitive ball. I've played at high levels. Dude, get out of here, bro. Like, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? Like, we are dog walking.
Let me tell you something. That dude genuinely is okay with if he threw his arm off and just had to go back to the military and be a pilot. So, like, he doesn't live and die by the fact that he has to be on baseball. So, like, he only knows one way to go all out all the time. And if something happens along the way, his backup plan is pretty sweet for what he wants to do. So he'll be okay. But speaking of velo, the last question I got for you guys, Aroldis Chapman, Mason Miller, Ben Joyce, those guys, guys like that, literally throwing steady doses, 105. But the thing is, it's the movement, right? Like, Doug, to use an example, I watched Ben Joyce throw 103 miles an hour in Swayze and watched Tim Elko hit it over the batter's eye, because Tim, you throw a flat fastball right down the middle. But now I'm watching Ben 2 years later developed, no different than Aroldis or, Mason, and the movement on it. It's not, these fastballs ain't just coming right down the pipe. Like, just like, how impressive is it for you guys, like, man, to see, these three, and this is obviously a list of more names. Those are just the top guys, to be able to steadily throw doses of that fast of velo and have the movement and direction and, basically be able to control it the way they want to.
It's impressive, man, because, you have you have guys like myself, I guess, in college. Like you saw Mason Miller get, or not Mason Miller, get taken over the batter's eye, but and then I'm out there throwing 88 and throwing what I like to call believer balls back in the day. I'm just believing that I'm going to get it by him. But no, the movement is a huge factor in the fastball. That's like it's not the most important factor. Everything that's been preached to me since I've gotten here is that the velocity of a fastball is the number one deciding factor of that pitch's success. Point blank. Like there's no avoiding that. So we're always trying to improve that. But when you add that movement piece, that's what takes a pitch from, whatever grade you want to give it to the next level, because you don't have to throw it on the corners. You can just go at will. You see Emmanuel Clase throwing 100 miles an hour, but the pitch is moving in a way that nobody's ever understood. He's making lefties OPS. I heard it the other day because he made 4 saves in a row against the Cubs, but he went four. I think they were saying that the OPS against lefties was under 400 or something ridiculous. It was like
Yeah,
3 something, and it's because of the movement. Yes, it's 99. So I go back and forth on it, but it's the whole fastball, looking at it with the big picture.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean
What
the
about you,
move.
John?
Yeah, the movements. I mean, key. I mean, you see hitters now. They're working to hit vert balls. They have machines now that throw vert balls to where maybe that sinker is going to work. And it's like I have a 2-seamer and it's not crazy sink, but the hitters think that it's more of like a 4-seamer straight ball, and I'm able to get a jam shot to third base or a weak ground ball. Like those little bits of inches that either are late or whatever, they can help develop you into reaching your goal as you want. But I mean, velo's cool and all, and I mean when it's
Yeah,
105, I don't know who can hit that. But, you know, but the movement is key, because you see, I've had hitters tell me that, all right, I can hit so and so's fastball because, of course, it's 98, 100, but I mean, it's flat. But then it's like I wouldn't hit this person's, even though it's 94 to 96 with
right.
much movement,
That we talk
I
about,
mean, I
like,
mean, I mean, it's as simple as like Cameron James told me in Game 1 of the College World Series. He knew that Leiter was fixing to throw a fastball down the middle, and Leiter threw it 100, and he took it yard. If you know a fastball's coming and you're a good hitter, if it's right down the pipe, they can smoke it every time.
yeah, and we talk about how the game has changed and how you're getting guys to these point with everything technology wise that you have today. I mean, like Jim, like I'm sure you've seen it. Like you go to these minor league places that, yeah, maybe you're in Des Moines, Iowa, maybe you're in the middle of nowhere, but like the technology that they have in these facilities is pretty incredible. And I think like
Generates everything to me, man.
yeah, it's harder for me to imagine you trying to replicate, like in practices, a Greg Maddux or a Kyle Hendricks or somebody like that who's really he's just with his stuff. You know what I mean? Like slower velo, but it's just like precise. He's painting corners. It's super easy to get a pitching machine and just, hey man, 105 down the middle, boom, and you're smoking it, and you're training kids to do that. I mean, I'm 24. And when we were at Chicago, CPS, Chicago Public Schools, man, we barely had books. Nonetheless, any pitching machines. So like the fact that these things are going crazy, like I used to have my boy Jacob pitch to me, and he was a golfer more than anything. But yeah, I think it's incredible, man. I think everything you guys are able to do nowadays is just, especially from a pitching perspective, to be able to see things better, is incredible. And from a hitting perspective, you're really getting a better opportunity off the field to be able to catch up to what guys are trying to do.
Let it be
All
known they're
right.
trying to make it as tough as they can on us as
I
pitchers.
believe
Like
it.
the game is all about, pimping home run. Like I sound like a sourpuss right now. Let me clear the air. Look, they're trying to
No,
make it
all
harder on
sports are
us.
like that, Doug. You're not saying anything's wrong.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in football. They take away defenders' ability to hit anybody to make sure
We can
touchdowns are
score
scored.
touchdowns,
Baseball's the same way. Every sport's like that.
And with the beauty of it is I don't have to be better than Greg Maddox's numbers back in the 90s. I just have to have better numbers than my peers that all have to deal with the same conditions. So
Right.
I mean, it makes it tough because they're like, oh, this guy's got a 5 ERA, blah blah blah. Well, what's my ERA plus? It's not that bad, like
Well, that's
compared to
why I
the
said
rest of the
something about
guys
the
we got on
whip
this
a minute
list.
ago, because when you start getting into advanced statistics, all those things matter. You can't just look at ERA. It's no different than, John, I didn't even read it because I didn't want to give people
Right.
a misunderstanding about his one game in the pros, because it's going to say 13.5 ERA, but it's not an indicator. It sounds like he got absolutely blasted, but that's
Right.
not the
And
truth.
it's like you talk to, listen, I'm not saying that we know all, see all, but if you ask a casual baseball fan what WCR plus is, or it's like, what do we, or WRC plus, pardon me. It's like, what are we talking? See, I don't even know shit, but it's like, what are we talking about? And there's so many metrics that go into what you're trying to be successful in and what you're great at. There's a guy who can get millions of dollars just based off of his whip. There's other guys who, hey man, listen, he don't get on base based off of hits, but his OPS is crazy. You know what I mean? And I think that's like where you really kind of look at the metrics of the game, trying to keep yourself in the majors at the big leagues. There's a lot of levels to this shit, man.
Hey, it's as simple as this, Mike, and then we'll play this or that. We had Tanner Franklin on Monday, came from Kennesaw State, went to Tennessee, and I was looking at his numbers, and, we keep it real. I asked questions about, improvement, but I saw a whole bunch of strikeouts, but, don't think I didn't glance right over to the walks category right next to it. And so
Sure.
I asked him about control issues, because sure, we can talk about how he had 12 strikeouts, in 5 innings, but let's talk about the 5 walks that you had also, because that's relevant, man, because that's a big number. So
Hater.
yeah, it's
Hater.
all about
Jim's a hater.
advancing. No, because you can't
Jim's a
walk
hater.
5 guys in 5 innings.
Yes,
Anyway,
I can. Yes, I can. I struck out 12.
we
I
got
can't
to
do it no
cruise,
more.
Mike. We have never went this long, but it's been worth it. It's been the best episode I could have imagined. We got to cruise through this or that, because I got to take my mama to the doctor. So
Sorry.
So this or that is brought to you by Chinook's Eater. We've been talking about it. Look, I got to get on camera. We got Parmesan pepper with me today. 8 flavors, mild to wild, the best in the game. But let's fire them off. Each question we'll start. We'll let John go first. John answers first, then Doug. So first one, cereal, no milk, or peanut butter, no jelly?
Peanut butter, no jelly. Crunchy peanut butter, no jelly.
It's specific. Even drier. That's just madness. What about you, Doug?
Cereal, no milk. Cereal, no milk. It's just like dry CT crunch in a cup, just right there.
It's funny he said that, because I literally ate that yesterday. Cinnamon toast out of a cup, because we had no milk in the house. So it's funny that those questions on there. This one is near and dear to me. After a trip to California recently, I have a whole new perspective. Luxury swimming pool or go to the beach?
Oh, I hate the sand. It gets everywhere. I'm gonna say swimming pool.
Bro,
I swear I'm not trying
true
to
story. I'm supposed
to.
No, I'm telling you. I was supposed to go to the Angels game and meet up with Ben Joyce, and I was stuck 45 minutes away. I was going to have to Uber, and I had sand all in my crack. And I was like, you know what, man? I'm just not going today. If I would have been at the swimming pool, it'd been no damn problem.
I'm telling you, there's no waves at the pool. There's people peeing in the pool. There's come on, man. The beach all the way. The X factor, though, that we didn't mention is the lake. I mean, take me out to the lake.
Lake is a good time.
That's the in between.
Yeah, I've talked to Jim about this before. I listen. I'm a scared of sharks. I don't rock with that whatsoever. The ocean, anything in Cali, Florida, I'm not rocking with it, bro. But a good lake, I'm good with a lake. I think I could rock with the lake.
No doubt. All right. What's a cooler animal, a honey badger or a wolverine?
I'm gonna say a honey badger, honestly.
Here comes Doug, opposite.
No, not the
Hugh
opposite.
Jackman.
Have you ever heard that? Like what was it? It was like an internet meme when I was a kid. It was like honey badger. I don't even know where
the honey badger don't care.
It
was
honey badger don't care. Wasn't that what it was called?
Right, because it came the jersey's on the wall right there. It's Tyrann Mathieu for LSU, because it made a whole big thing because he took what he wanted. But that's why I brought it up. So the new movie came out, Deadpool Wolverine, and they were talking about like the Wolverine was the coolest thing. And I was like, man, I said the most random stuff ever, which led to this. I was like, I need a honey badger character. And I had a guy tell me like, what's cool about a honey badger? And I was like, are you kidding me? Have you ever watched a video? Like it could get bit by a king cobra and just keep rocking. Like that's gangster to me. Like, I don't know. I ask off the wall
you.
questions for this or that. Like it comes to things that just randomly happen in my life. But with that, would you rather, this is the simple one, would you rather go out to eat at a restaurant with the boys, or would you rather grill out in the backyard?
Grill out in the backyard for me.
Same, dude. I don't
All right,
want to.
we're finally on the same page.
Yeah,
Y'all finally
I
there.
don't want to. I was just saying that I don't want to deal with the check dance. I don't want to have somebody else bring me water. Have it in a cooler. Have somebody else cooking burgers. I don't
Yeah.
care if it's burnt.
And I don't
That's
like.
fine.
How do y'all feel about like when you're at a restaurant and you get something to drink? Like I don't like drinking out of a cup that a million other people drank out of. I don't care if you clean it or not. Like I'm not. I don't know.
They better be giving me a straw. They better be giving me a straw to be clear.
But even still, I'm like not like. I remember one time. And listen, if this ruins our sponsorship with Buffalo Wild Wings, it is what it is. But one time I just asked for a water, and I swear it tasted like Miller Lite, and I was like, "You did not clean this up. Like you did. Like I'm looking at her and I'm like, I know it's not the Irish in me just like taking over right now. Like this is weird. But she was like, nope, we clean them. You lying to me right now.
All right. Well, it's time to get Mike unhinged. And hey, Mike, before I ask this question, just remember I still have to take my mom to the doctor. Better Chicago baseball movie, Rookie of the Year or Hardball?
Don't piss me off right now.
For me.
Hey, Johnny B.
Dude, Rookie of the Year. I love it when you call me Big Pop.
I haven't seen it for years. You know, Hardball.
Rookie of the Year. Nah, come on.
Hardball, baby. Hardball, baby.
Dude, whatever, man. You know what?
It's
if
too
I had
far
more
off
time
the-
to argue this, I would.
It's too far off the rails.
Dude,
for me.
yeah.
As pitching guys, Rigma as the pitching coach is a better character than G Baby. I don't want to hear.
Your teammate in Rookie of the Year is trying to hook up with your mom the entire movie. It's not a good movie. That is horrible team chemistry.
It's Chet Stedman, man.
I don't care, brother. Whatever.
Anyway, moving on.
Baby.
Important question: PlayStation or Xbox?
So I've had both, right? But I just got a PlayStation just because there's more games. So I'm going to go PlayStation.
Facts.
Just mark me down for neither. I've only owned an Xbox, but I pawn that thing off. I don't play any video games.
All right. So I had a follow-up question. That means this next question's only coming to John B. And I guess, Mike, you get to answer. Because I reformatted this question. So if you had a choice between playing NCAA football and Madden, or they came out with the new NCAA baseball game that had the cover that, Doug had, what are you playing? Or, you're a baseball guy. Is it you'd rather play football or you'd play your sport when it came to video games?
I don't know. They're both cool to me. I grew up playing NCAA baseball, so PlayStation 2. I remember it. And but college football is, geez. Thing is, either or, it's like whatever season we're in, I'm playing that game. That's just how it goes. And like I'll probably play football more than baseball just because I see baseball every day. So
I'm actually ready to get on them sticks and play college football. And I'm going to tell you the truth, John. As an LSU guy, I'm still going to be Memphis first because I want to be Seth Hennigan and drop dimes because I think he's going to have a crazy year that's going to have video game numbers. And so I kind of want to, like you said, I kind of want to go with the season that really is. And I would play with Memphis on there in all honesty. And maybe it'd be realistic and we'd have half a Liberty Bowl, just like in real life. But no, I'm done. I'm done with the this or that questions. We'll let Doug go read a book instead of play video games. You
Come
close
on,
it
man.
down, Mike.
Come on.
I'm telling you, bro. Doug, I'm telling you, I have your best interest. I'm supporting you.
Thank you.
I would never do this to you.
I'll be honest with you. I'll end with this on that note. I will say this. After interviewing so many college baseball pitchers, I have found that actually 90% of college baseball pitchers, I'd say, like to play Call of Duty. I don't know what it is about it, but a lot of them say that, like, when they just want to get away from the game and have a break, like the game of baseball, they feel like dropping bodies is the best way to do that.
Like all of it.
Might be so.
Maybe. A little stress reliever.
That is.
Little
There you
Fortnite
go.
action.
Hey, I just had a bad game. You know what? I'm gonna kill as many folks as I can.
Oh man,
Yep.
But listen,
Absolutely.
Jim, we're good to roll.
Yeah.
Good to roll. Anything else? All right. Well, listen, man, we appreciate you guys being here. Really quickly, if you guys don't mind, could you drop your IG handles or any social media things? Doug, I've been seeing you with the like thing the whole episode. I think it's
What the
hilarious.
hell is that?
I think it's your phone. I don't know, but I've done it like 3 times back to you. But real quick, Doug,
And Mike,
you want to
I'm
start off?
literally gonna let you close this down without me. I gotta go take care of my mama.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro. But look, man, we appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Really quick, could you drop your social medias or anything you guys got going on?
I'm about to put it in now.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, mine. You want me to put it in the chat?
Oh, no, you could just say it.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I
Put it in the chat.
John's hilarious.
both
John's
both of mine are just Doug at Doug Nikhazy. No spaces, no nothing. Just at Doug Nikhazy on Twitter and Instagram. Don't catch me on TikTok. I'm not there. You won't see me dancing around.
Hey, listen, bro. I'm about to hit 100K on TikTok. We're having a great time. But John B, because he put it in the private chat, I'll announce it. It is John B.2. John B.2. I am Mike Hughes.
I messed up in the chat. That's why we got to say it.
Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
.B.2. That's
John.B.2. Appreciate you guys being here, man. It was great to meet you guys. Again, this is Pros and Joes, season 3, episode 1. I am Mike Hughes, aka the Shy Kid, baby. Again, really quick, just do a little thing. Appreciate you guys, man. 100K followers is fucking crazy, and Jim's not here, so he doesn't know I said that. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. This is Pros and Joes, season 3, episode 1. You are listening to In Off the Bench and Give Us a Shot Network. Until then, peace.
Give them a shot to do what?